In the previous spoiler, it was mentioned that after not seeing any trace of Zixin for a long time, Wang Lin and the others decided to proceed to the third layer of the abyss. To ensure the smooth catalyzation of the reincarnation fruit, Wang Lin and Deity Hu each escorted a core formation cultivator to the location of the reincarnation tree. After all, with just core formation cultivation, reaching the destination alone would be no different from seeking death unless they had extraordinary luck and encountered no savages along the way. Moreover, core formation cultivators' flying speed was far inferior to that of Deity Transformation cultivators. If they traveled at their own pace, the journey would take much longer, increasing the risk of encountering savages. Therefore, having Deity Transformation cultivators carry the core formation cultivators while flying was not only a safer approach but also significantly reduced travel time. However, Master Qiu, who was traveling with Deity Hu, only had nascent soul cultivation and was much slower compared to Deity Transformation cultivators like Wang Lin and Deity Hu. After encountering consecutive 5-leaf and 6-leaf savages, his usefulness was almost non-existent. In fact, he had become a burden. Yet, in his desire to comprehend insights beneath the reincarnation tree to gain an opportunity to break through to the Deity Transformation stage, he was willing to exchange a treasure in return for Wang Lin carrying him along using the mosquito beast. However, the treasure had restrictions that prevented Wang Lin from probing into it deeply, making it difficult to unleash its full potential. At this moment, obtaining the reincarnation fruit was the top priority, so Wang Lin didn't dwell on it. Just then, 2 6-leaf savages, each with strength comparable to the late Deity Transformation stage, launched a surprise attack, charging toward Wang Lin and Deity Hu. Wang Lin swung his giant sword in retaliation, instantly injuring his opponent, while Deity Hu found himself struggling, barely able to hold his ground. With no other choice, Deity Hu summoned a ferocious beast resembling a black tortoise to fight. In fact, the blood of demons or spirit beasts held great attraction to savages, as it helped them strengthen their runes and increase their power. Seeing this, the 2 6-leaf savages immediately shifted their focus and lunged toward the beast. Though Deity Hu was reluctant, he had no choice but to abandon his beast to prevent drawing in even more savages and completely losing control of the situation. After all, with only mid-Deity Transformation cultivation, he was barely holding on against a 6-leaf savage. However, while Wang Lin was also at mid-Deity Transformation, or more precisely, close to mid-Deity Transformation, his formidable techniques and numerous treasures made it only a matter of time before he killed the 6-leaf savage. After flying for a long time, they finally arrived at the withered reincarnation tree. The 2 core formation cultivators immediately sat cross-legged, burning their own lifespan to catalyze the reincarnation fruit. After negotiating the distribution of the fruit, Wang Lin and Deity Hu swiftly set up restrictions and formations to protect them. As their lifespan burned, the life force of the core formation cultivators rapidly withered, while the once dry reincarnation tree seemed to regain vitality, blooming brilliantly. In the darkness of the abyss, the tree's radiance was particularly striking, instantly attracting hordes of savages from the third layer. Initially, only 4-leaf savages with strength equivalent to the nascent soul stage arrived, and Wang Lin was able to handle them with his restrictions. However, as time passed, the savages arriving became increasingly powerful. Deity Hu barely managed to kill several 5-leaf savages but sustained heavy injuries, gradually losing ground. In contrast, Wang Lin, bolstered by his restrictions and magical treasures, single-handedly slew the remaining 5-leaf savages without suffering a single wound. This scene made Deity Hu even more apprehensive. After all, he and Wang Lin were both in the mid-Deity Transformation stage, yet while Deity Hu struggled against multiple 5-leaf savages, Wang Lin easily emerged victorious. The difference in their strength was now glaringly obvious. However, the reincarnation fruit still needed more time to fully mature. Unfortunately, 2 6-leaf savages had already arrived along with more than 10 4-leaf and 5-leaf savages. An elderly 6-leaf savage woman extended a single hand from the void and instantly shattered Deity Hu's formation, turning the situation dire. Wang Lin reacted decisively, using restrictions to suppress the savage woman and even injuring her. However, at that moment, a sudden figure intervened. An imposing middle-aged man blocked Wang Lin's attack. This was the first appearance of a battle curse warrior. In fact, among the pureblood savages of the immortal remains, there were 2 distinct groups, spell curse masters and battle curse warriors. The savages Wang Lin and the others had encountered so far were all spell curse masters, who used their runes to conjure weapons or directly cast rune-based attacks. Battle curse warriors, however, were completely different. They fought using their formidable physical bodies, which were as tough as magical artifacts. Even if they suffered injuries, they could instantly recover using their runes. The six-leaf spell Curse Master was completely trapped by Wang Lin's restrictions, unable to break free, whereas the Battle Curse Warrior could shatter the restraints and even gain the upper hand in close combat. This showed that Battle Curse Warriors were far more terrifying than their Spell Curse Master counterparts of the same level. While Spell Curse Masters were akin to cultivators relying on powerful magical treasures, Battle Curse Warriors themselves were the strongest weapons. Sensing the dire situation, Deity Who did not hesitate to sacrifice the two core formation cultivators, forcibly catalyzing the reincarnation fruit to its limit using their entire lifespan. The moment the fruit ripened, Deity Who and Wang Lin immediately harvested their pre-agreed portions. At the same time, Wang Lin severed the reincarnation tree with his bare hands, hoisting it onto his shoulder. After withdrawing his restrictions, he and Deity Who split up and fled. As for Master Chiao, completely powerless to resist, he could only follow Wang Lin in a desperate escape. The battle-hardened Battle Curse Warrior stomped through the air in furious pursuit of Wang Lin, his overwhelming aura pressing down like a mountain. At the same time, two six-leaf spell Curse Masters charged toward Deity Who and Master Chiao. Without a doubt, with only a mere nascent soul cultivation, Master Chiao had no chance of withstanding a strike from a six-leaf savage. In the blink of an eye, rune chains wrapped around his body, forcibly invading his flesh. His screams barely lasted a moment before his eyes became lifeless, his vitality rapidly draining. Ultimately, he would be fully parasitized by the runes and turned into a rune puppet. With the curse mark successfully planted in Master Chiao, the six-leaf savage's figure flickered and charged at Deity Who, joining the other six-leaf savage in a coordinated assault. The Battle Curse Warrior relentlessly pursued Wang Lin, his gaze burning with battle fervor as he provocatively declared his intent for a duel. Wang Lin did not back down, wielding his celestial sword in retaliation. Sword light slashed continuously, each strike landing on the warrior's body, but only tearing his flesh, unable to sever his bones. With the power of his runes, the warrior's wounds healed instantly, making him seem nearly immortal. Wang Lin knew that, relying solely on his clone's strength, he would not be able to defeat this opponent. Unless his true body arrived, victory was unlikely. With this in mind, he decisively summoned the god-slaying war chariot. A terrifying aura erupted forth, causing the warrior's expression to change drastically as a deep fear of death surfaced within him. He roared and charged forward in a frenzy, attempting to stop Wang Lin from activating the chariot. However, Wang Lin's giant sword slashed repeatedly, its sharp brilliance ripping through the warrior's body, covering him in wounds and forcing him back several steps. Yet, under the power of the runes, his injuries healed in an instant, as if he had never been hurt. If the battle continued like this, Wang Lin would not only fail to kill his opponent but would also suffer severe losses due to the energy consumption of Su Ligua. Fortunately, the god-slaying war chariot had fully activated. A soul beast roared as it emerged, instantly pouncing on the warrior. His fragmented soul was torn apart and devoured, his body collapsing in an instant, completely annihilated in both form and spirit. The power of the god-slaying war chariot was undeniable. However, even while bound by the beast-controlling bracelet, the soul beast remained unruly and refused to submit to Wang Lin. After devouring the warrior, it suddenly lashed out, ferociously counterattacking and lunging straight at Wang Lin. In that critical moment, the chains of the god-slaying war chariot trembled and contracted, forcefully sealing the soul beast back inside. Wang Lin did not dare to linger. He immediately recalled the god-slaying war chariot into the beast-controlling bracelet and swiftly retreated. But just as he reattached the bracelet to his wrist, a massive suction force erupted once again, attempting to drain his spiritual power completely. Fortunately, Wang Lin had prepared in advance, continuously supplying energy from top-grade spirit stones to barely withstand the force. Yet, he was painfully aware if he did not increase his strength quickly, one day, this ferocious soul beast would drain him dry. Wang Lin sped toward the entrance at full speed. Just as he was about to escape, an old man appeared, blocking his path. This was a seven-leaf savage. His cultivation was equivalent to the infant transformation stage. Facing such a formidable opponent, Wang Lin did not hesitate. With a flash of his figure, he leaped straight into the entrance, escaping to the second layer. The old man followed closely behind, stepping into the second layer as well. However, to his surprise, Wang Lin had vanished entirely. Clearly, he had hidden inside the heaven-defying bead. Do you still remember Sun Tai, the elder of the Corpsine sect, who was once forced to become Wang Lin's servant in the immortal realm? This man, relying on his own strength alone, once slaughtered over 100 deity transformation cultivators. The gap between the deity transformation and infant transformation stages is not something that can simply be bridged by numbers, because at that level, one's spiritual energy has already transformed into immortal energy, representing a qualitative leap. Even Wang Lin knew he was far from being a match and dared not recklessly test the god-slaying war chariot against him. Thus, he decisively chose to retreat into the heaven-defying bead, avoiding direct confrontation. However, Deity whose strength was far inferior to Wang Lin's, was not as fortunate. Earlier, in a desperate bid for survival, he had burned his primordial spirit to escape from the two six-leaf savages. Yet, on his way to the second layer, he was ultimately captured by the seven-leaf savage. Without a doubt, his fate would likely be no better than that of Master Chiu. He would most certainly be refined into a puppet. In truth, the clan of Immortal Remains, these so-called savages, preferred refining outsiders into puppets rather than outright slaughtering them. This was because they themselves were unable to leave the pit they resided in, while the puppets could. Once refined, these puppets could follow commands and even retrieve resources from outside the pit. This was precisely why they turned intruding cultivators into puppets instead of wantonly massacring the surrounding villages. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Wang Lin was eventually forced to leave the internal space of the heaven-defying bead. He swiftly made his way toward the entrance of the second layer, intending to pass through and return to the first layer. However, just as he was about to step through, a restriction suddenly appeared, blocking his path. Wang Lin's heart sank. He hadn't expected that the seven-leaf savage had already set up an ambush here. Now, faced with a powerful enemy equivalent to the infant transformation stage, will Wang Lin be able to escape unscathed? Will the god-slaying war chariot once again help him overcome this crisis? Stay tuned for the next spoiler. I will unveil it all for you. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching this video. Wish you a wonderful day.